Look, if you don't have a link, I'm sorry, okay, if I forgot to put it in there.
Fight training. Katuski grinned. Oh no, Izuku groaned. Not a fan of combat. Himeko questioned from her seat behind the boy. It's not that I've just had, let's say, some bad luck with using my powers in a combative capacity, he told her, namely involving almost maiming a few people. He shivered. Well, maybe this training can help you, the girl offered. That's my hope, too, honestly. Izuku sighed. Now, one of the big parts about being a hero is looking good. The No One hero grinned as he pressed a button, causing some racks with suitcases to appear out of the walls. These hero outfits were created based on the forms you submitted to the support department before school started. Suit up and meet me at Training Ground Beta, he instructed before heading out, allowing the students to grab the cases holding their outfits. Yes, sir, the kids exclaimed. Later, after everyone got dressed into their costumes, they all headed towards the training area where All Might was waiting for them, allowing them to see what they looked like. They say clothes make the pros, ladies and gentlemen, and behold, you are the proof, he began. From now on, you are all now heroes in training, he continued. Oh, this is getting me revved up. You look so cool. Now, shall we get started? A bunch of newbies, the symbol of peace questioned. Izuku himself certainly stood out. He had a version of Nagato's Akatsuki outfit that was adjusted to fit him right down to the ring. The Kanjiana was replaced with Midori green, however. Additionally, his cloak was green with white bordered clouds instead of black, so it wasn't a one-to-one rendition. Oh hey, Deku/Izuku. Achako and Himeko exclaimed as they ran over to the boy, causing him to go rigid as he saw their costumes. Achako was wearing a skin-tight black and pink astronaut suit right down to the custom helmet she had on. She seemed somewhat bashful about it. Himeko, meanwhile, was wearing a version of Vlad King's costume. It was a red skin-tight leotard that had a storage reservoir on her back that was connected to tubes that went to tiny syringe bracelets on her wrist for discreetly getting blood. The gloves these were attached to were red while they were white, and she also wore white knee-high boots as well as an orange mask. Additionally, she had several knives strapped on her hips. Throwing knives included medical pockets on her legs, a tri-tip mini cleaver in both boots, and lastly, tanto strapped horizontally on the back of her waist. Oh, hi. In nice costumes. The boy commented with a blush at how revealing they were. I honestly should have been more specific. This is too skin-tight for me, the brunette admitted bashfully. Well, I'm certainly not complaining. The blonde purred as she hugged her friend from behind, cropping a feel of the brunette's chest. Izuku didn't know how he was supposed to react to that. Oh, wait, yeah, he did. He was blushing profusely at the display. Himeko, cut it out, Achako yelped, jumping away. As they all started gathering around, All Might was quick to start everything so they wouldn't waste time. Now that you're ready, it's time for us to begin, the man told them. Sir Ada chimed in while raising his hand. These are the fake cities from our entrance exams, he continued. Does that mean we'll be doing urban battles again? He asked. Not quite, I'm moving you 2 steps ahead. Today's lesson will take place indoors, the man replied. Most of the battles you hear about on TV take place outside. The truly intelligent villains skulk in the shadows behind the scenes. Home invasions, backroom dealings, and more. We will be simulating one such occasion, he continued. Isn't this a little advanced? Sue asked. The best experience is what you get on the battlefield, the No One hero replied. But you can't just punch a robot this time. You're dealing with actual people, he continued. So today you'll be splitting up into teams of good guys and bad guys and fight 2-on-2 indoor battles, he added. It was then that he was bombarded with various questions from his pupils all at once. Sir, will you be deciding who wins? Momo questioned. How much can we hurt the other team? Katsuki continued. Are weapons allowed? The school never did say, Himeko chimed in. Are we going to have to worry about the lovers getting expelled like earlier? Achako gulped. Will you be splitting us up by chance or comparative skill? Ida added. Isn't this Cape Tree chic? Aoyama asked. I'm not done talking, he growled, shutting them up before he pulled out a script of all things. The situation is this: the villains have a weapon somewhere in the building, and it's the hero's job to find them. If the villains can hold the line until time runs out, then they win. Additionally, if one side subdues the other, that's another way to achieve victory, he continued. Oh, so your classic action movie setup, Izuku noted. One of the best genres of movie to watch on a first date, just saying. Himeko whispered, causing the Rinnegan user and brunette next to her to blush with an eye roll. Time is limited, so we'll choose teams by drawing lots. The symbol of peace told them. Isn't there a better way? Ada protested. Think about it, Ada, Izuku countered. Pros often have to work with heroes from other agencies on the spot. He continued. So this is likely a training method based on that. Himeko nodded. You know, when you put it like that, it makes a lot more sense. Achako nodded, showing she caught on quickly. Precisely. All Might exclaimed, pointing at them. It's actually a common sight in the field, so simulating it will help ease you into it and make you more adaptable. He added, without further ado, let's draw. The teams were then selected soon after, with Achako getting paired with Izuku and Himeko being paired with Momo, while poor Ida was stuck with Katsuki. Now I declare that the first to fight will be these guys. The blond man exclaimed, holding up two orbs that said Izuku and Achako would fight Ada and Katsuki, much to the Rinnegan user's exasperation. Of course, Izuku groaned as he face-bumped. Later, so this is the weapon we must protect. Fake, of course. Ada mused, wrapping the fake rocket with his fist. Even though this is training, it pains me to align myself with criminal behavior. He sighed. Whatever. Katsuki scoffed. You've seen what Deku can do, right? He asked after a beat passed. It's hard not to, the blue-haired teen replied. Then this battle won't be easy. But to hell if I'm gonna let that stop me from roasting the damn nerd today, the blonde growled, clenching his fists. Why do you seem particularly angry when it comes to Midoriya? The speedster questioned. Those eyes of his, they aren't just some random quirk. They're more than that, the bomber told him in reply. The power they hold is enough for any villain to covet if they go public. That same power also scares me. He added, sounding very hesitant on the last part. That's quite the statement. Ida uttered. Trust me, it's real. He added. Elsewhere, meanwhile, outside the building, Achako and Izuku were currently trying to work on getting the floor plan memorized, something that was at least easy for Izuku to do. Hey, you seem like you've known Bakugo a long time. Right? Achako spoke up. Since we were kids? Yeah, the Rinnegan user nodded. He's always been better than me at basically everything. It wasn't until the day my eyes changed that I started leveling the playing field. He continued. I'm only just starting to really catch up to his level of confidence. He added, really, you seemed confident enough back in the practical exams. The brunette blinked. That's because I had something to focus on, Izuku told her. But here, I'll have to face him head on and learn to use my power safely. He added, this time without seriously damaging something or someone. He added, what do you? Achako questioned as he got up. It doesn't matter. Let's go. He told her as they went inside the building, with him walking in front. As they went, Izuku kept his ears open. If he knew the explosive Pomeranian that is Katsuki well, he'd come after them. He needed to be ready when he heard the telltale noise of explosions closing in on him and his partner. But the strange thing was, as they continued to make their ways around several corners, he didn't hear anything at all. In fact, I'm still getting used to One for All, so it'd be best not to use it. I'll just have to rely on whatever I can do with my 6 paths that won't damage the building, plus Uraraka's zero gravity. The boy thought as they continued sneaking up floors. Yeah, that's probably our best bet. He nodded. As he finished up his thoughts, he was able to pick up the telltale explosions of Katsuki heading his and Achako's way, causing his eyes to widen. Get down, he yelled, grabbing his partner just in time for the red-eyed teen to come from around the corner and blast them. Uraraka, are you okay? He questioned, getting up, showing that the attack didn't leave a scratch on him. Yeah, you? The brunette groaned. I'm fine, the boy told her as Katsuki came out of the smoke. What are you waiting for, Deku? Afraid to stand up and fight me? he questioned. Keep dreaming. The Rinnegan user retorted as he activated the Asura path and created some sword blades from them. However, when he tried to attack with them, the blonde was quick to blast his arms with explosions that were much stronger than they would be typically, causing the blades to shatter. Now you're open. The bomber grinned as he charged forward. I won't hurt you so bad they'll stop the fight, just close. He yelled as he went for a big right hook. Almighty push. Izuku intoned as he held out a hand to meet his rival's right hook, causing the Diva Path's repulsion power to send him flying backward. Katsuki grunted as he collided with a wall. Should have known better than to rush him like that. He muttered to himself as he got to his feet. Like I said, Kakin. Izuku said as the dust cleared around him and Uraraka, showing that he was looking at the boy with very little apprehension. No matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to touch me, he added. Elsewhere, meanwhile, up in the observation room, the rest of the class was watching and giving various commentaries as the match unfolded before them. What did Midoriya just do? All I saw was him holding his hand out before Bakugo went flying. Kaminari wondered. The Diva Path, so that's what it looks like in action. Shoto mused. The ability to control the attractive and repulsive forces of gravity at will, it's quite the devastating power. He added. Indeed, and young Midoriya must be very mindful of how much power he puts into it every time he uses it. A close-quarters environment like the corridor emphasizes that. All Might nodded. Asterisk it is a way to learn some self-control. Sue noted. Wait, so if Midoriya has what I think he has, what else can he do with it? Kirishima questioned. You'll have to wait and see, the man told him. Elsewhere, meanwhile, back with Izuku and Bakugo, the green-haired teen had told his partner to book it to the weapon while he dealt with Katsuki, and now he was blocking a flying kick from Bakugo with his arm, leaving him wide open to the adjacent wall. Almighty push, he uttered, causing the boy to go flying and crashing through several layers of wall. You can't win if you keep spamming that Deku. The Pomeranian blonde barked as he got back up, but saw that the Viridian-haired teen had suddenly vanished. Oh, now you're running, huh? I'll fucking find you, he yelled as he went in a direction that he hoped his rival went. You put the dick in predictable, you know that, Kakin. A voice questioned from the hall across from him, causing him to turn and see Izuku standing there, hand out. Get over here. He growled in a scorpion impression as a dark orb appeared in his hand. Universal pulled out, he thought. Crap! Katsuki yelled as he was pulled toward his rival, who transformed his right arm into the gorilla arms from Cyberpunk 2077, reared it back and slammed his fist into the red-eyed boy's gut, the force coming dangerously close to making the bomber puke up his last meal. As the fist was removed, Katsuki collapsed to his knees, holding his stomach in pain since it hurt like hell. You give up? The boy questioned as his arm then shifted to reveal a cyberpunk arm cannon as he held it at the blonde's head. Go fuck yourself. Katsuki groaned, his pride refusing to let him surrender as he shakily got back to his feet. Wrong answer. Izuku deadpanned before he fired a tranquilizer at the red-eyed teen's neck. However, it unfortunately didn't take immediate effect like he'd hoped. Taking advantage of his opponent's assuredness of his victory, Katsuki forced his body to not fall down and fought through the haze caused by the dart to start wildly attacking Izuku before the boy had the time to react. Oof, Izuku grunted as he received a sloppy haymaker to the face, forcing him to stagger back. Nice try, Deku. Katsuki growled as he limply forced himself upright, a grin on his face. But you should have shot me with something lethal when you had the chance. He continued, slamming his fist into his face, causing an explosion and further weakening the trank. 'Cause tranks don't work when you're full of adrenaline. He added, of course you'd work around that. Izuku muttered as he rubbed his face. And you should know me enough to realize that I don't use lethal force, much less in training exercises. He added, sounding a tad insulted. Okay, fine, I'll give you that one. The bomber conceded since it sounded like a valid point. But you aren't beating me that easy. He yelled as he started launching himself at Izuku, only to get grabbed by the face and for blue energy to start coming out of him. Predapath, he thought as he then performed a backflip kick in Izuku's chin to send him flying, both tumbling down adjacent flights of stairs into different areas. The damn Kakin is fighting off the trank I shot at him, and he even weakened it. If I can hold out long enough for the adrenaline to wear off, he'll fall asleep, and I'll have my opening. Izku thought, coming up with a plan while hoping he'd have enough time to outlast his rival. Barring that, I'll have to do something drastic. He added. Elsewhere, as this was going on, Ochako was busy trying to sneak up on Ada to try and catch him by surprise. As she did this, she quickly reached behind her belt and pulled something out from her costume's utility pouch. At first it looked like an average disc, until she pressed a button on it that caused it to open into what looked like a pink Captain America-like shield with a black circle in the center. This was her gravity flying saucer, a support item she specifically requested after Miko helped her come up with the design. If I play this just right, the lack of gravity on this should let it bounce off several surfaces and hit Ada. She thought as she glanced around the room, trying to find the ideal angle to throw her support item. Sorry, Ada, she exclaimed as she twirled and sailed her shield through the air at an angle that wouldn't make it hit the weapon but still managed to hit Ada square in the back of the head. The impact caused the speedster to fall to the ground, allowing the brunette to casually waltz up to the fake weapon and attempt to touch it as she caught her shield, only for Ada to get back up after shaking the birds from his head and attempting to tackle her. "No, you don't," he exclaimed as he ran at her, only for the gravity girl to block him with her shield and push him back, staggering him. "Come get me," she challenged, shield ready. Elsewhere, whoa, did you see the trick shot? She totally nailed him, Kaminari exclaimed in surprise. Doing something like that requires an excellent knowledge of physics and one's own quirk. Momo nodded. Clearly Uraraka has both. She added, yeah, and that shield she has. I helped her design it. Himiko chirped. Well, you certainly did a good job on that, Ajiro commented. Guys. Cyril gulped as he pointed at a monitor. I think something's happening with Midoriya and Bakugo, he told them. Elsewhere, as the two boys finally found each other on the fourth floor, Bakugo slowly lumbered over to Izuku's direction, his gauntlets lighting up red as Izuku just stood there. I'm all loaded up, he stated, holding up his arm while also trying not to fall backwards. Oh, I get it. Those gauntlets of yours are storing up your sweat for a giant blast, Izuku deduced, his body tensing. I see you remembered. Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen, the blonde confirmed as he pulled a handle back, revealing a pin. Young Bakugo, don't do it. With your poor footing due to the tranquilizer young Midoriya used, you'll kill him or yourself, All Might yelled over the speakers. Oh, he'll be fine as long as he dodges, the blonde yelled as he pulled the pin, releasing a monster blast that tore through the entire hall on its way to Izuku. Almighty push, the boy yelled, palm outstretched. Meanwhile, back with Ada and Ochako, the two were still fighting in the bomb room when the building was suddenly rocked by a massive explosion, causing both of them to stagger. Deku, are you okay? What was that blast? The brunette questioned through her earpiece. NGH. I'm fine, though I am a bit dazed, Izuku groaned in reply. Bakugo's status report, Ada exclaimed, but got no response. Bakugo, are you there? He questioned, still getting no response. You're a rocket. I can't raise Bakugo. Can you get Midoriya to assess his condition? He requested urgently. Oh, sure. The girl nodded. Deku, Ada can't raise Bakugo. What's his condition? She asked. Stand by. The boy groaned. There was a moment of silence before he spoke again. He's fine. Just out cold due to tranquilizer I used on him mixed with the explosion he caused, he reported. Okay, good. Ochako sighed in relief before looking at the speedster. Bakugo just knocked himself out, literally, she told him. Phew. The speedster sighed before the two turned towards each other. Now, where were we? He questioned as the two got into combat stances again. Elsewhere, meanwhile, back with Izuku, he was now making his way to the fifth floor where Uraraka and Ada currently were. His Akatsuki cloak had lost a sleeve, and the left side of his torso was exposed, but other than that, he was fine. When he reached the fifth floor, he only needed to follow the sounds of combat before he found his partner engaged in combat. As soon as he got there, he arrived on the scene of something that didn't really shock him, but still pleasantly surprised him. Ochako had managed to subdue Ada and got some capture tape around his arm. And that's the game, she declared with a smile. Wow, how'd you take him down so fast? The Rinnegan user questioned. Achako smiled cutely as she stepped on her shield, causing it to flip into her hand and allowing her to put it away. Himeko taught me some takedown maneuvers while we were training for the entrance exam, she told him. Plus, it pays to be flexible. She added, it also pays to be durable, or I'd be a lot more banged up from that explosion. Izuku nodded in agreement. It was at this moment that Achako noticed the exposed part of his torso. Damn, you could grind meat on those muscles, she commented without thinking, causing Izuku to blush profusely, and women call men perverts. He grumbled, which made Achako blush after realizing what she just said. And with young Ada and Bakugo captured, the hero team wins, All Might exclaimed. Later now, despite the results, the MVP of this match is young Uraraka. All Might told the group, surprising most of the class given Ada's forethought into not giving anything to Achako to use as weapons and Midoriya's near constant control to not cause much collateral damage. Why, though? I thought Midoriya would be the MVP given how he tried his best to not cause collateral damage. Kirishima wondered. A valid question, young Kirishima. Why didn't I choose them? Who has a guess? The symbol of peace asked the class. Sir, if I may. One Momo Yaoyorozu spoke up. Young Yaoyorozu, lay it on us, the man prompted. As you stated before, Bakugo's judgment was clouded due to his desire to defeat Midoriya one-on-one. It caused him to push through a tranquilizer dart shot through sheer force of will by keeping his adrenaline high, she began. This, while admirable, was a poor move, as it left him nearly catatonic afterwards and made him make the decision to blow up the building. Foolish move, not smart, she continued, causing the now awake Katsuki to twitch a bit. And don't forget it also made his performance sloppy, Shoto supplied. That as well. Momo nodded in agreement. Moving on, while Midoriya's self-control in a confined space in spite of his power was admirable, he didn't have much in the way of variety when it came to actual combat with his constant reliance on the diva path, she continued. Then again, gravity is a dangerous thing. So this reliance allowed Bakugo to exploit its recoil with his own attack to knock Midoriya off balance, she mused. Had he not fallen unconscious, it's likely that Bakugo could have exploited the 4-second cooldown between Midoriya's attacks to blindside him, she added. I still have a lot to learn, Izuku thought, acknowledging his flaws. Lastly, Ada showed nearly perfect forethought in preparing for Uraraka's arrival, but her having the element of surprise and the use of her more than unpredictable support item proved to be too much to account for. Momo continued. Yes, that about sums it up. All Might nodded dumbly. This girl is a smart one for sure, he thought, though I'm still getting used to my shield, if I'm being honest. Achako chuckled nervously. Are you kidding? Girl, you totally killed it out there. Himeko cheered, hugging her bestie tightly. Yeah, that trick shot was awesome, Kaminari added with a grin. Come on, guys. I still have a lot to learn with this thing, the brunette said modestly as she held up her shield. Now with that out of the way, let's move on to the next match. All Might called as he drew the next two teams. Later, Izuku was now watching the next match with the others, and was now really curious about the quirks of his other classmates, having only seen glimpses of them at this point. I'm curious about Todoroki's quirk. He didn't really use it much during the quirk assessment test, he mused. And Shoji got the best grip strength score out of us all, so I'm curious how that translates into combat, he added with a thoughtful hum, pulling his notebook from his cloak. You take notes on quirks? Himeko asked upon hearing his words and seeing his notebook. Yeah, he's a total stalker about it. Katsuki scoffed. Ignore him, Izuku said, making a quick sketch of Shoji and Shoto. As the match unfolded, the Rinnegan user learned that Shoji could use his extra arms to create any part of the human body for spy purposes, while Shoto could freeze entire buildings. The temperature drop was actually felt all the way in the control room. He incapacitated his opponents without compromising the weapon or his teammate. Take close note of his technique, students. All Might chattered as everyone shivered. Himeko, Achako, and even Chu in particular were quick to cling to each other with Izuku smack in the middle to try and keep warm. This left Izuku blushing since he had three very female bodies holding onto him. The next match was Takayama and Tsu vs Sato and Kirishima. This match ended in Tsu getting whacked around by Sato swinging her around and Kirishima holding out against Takayama in Dark Shadow, but ended with both working together to trip the other two with the capture tape and recover the weapon soon after. The match after that was between Kaminari and Gyro versus Momo and Himeko. Gyro was able to pinpoint where Momo and Himeko were with her quirk and lead Kaminari there. Momo, however, created a barricade around the door with her own quirk to make entry impossible while Himeko was on lookout duty. Hanging upside down from the fire escape ladder, the cat-like girl watched as the two heroes were headed to their floor and gave a Cheshire-like grin as she giggled to herself. Perfect. She purred as she flipped over and jumped into the fourth-floor window so she could ambush the two. When the two were in position, she jumped down on Kaminari as he lagged behind a bit and knocked him out with some incapacitation techniques she learned. Gyro noticed the lack of footsteps behind her and turned to see what was up. But instead of seeing Himeko, she instead saw Kaminari. "Are you okay, dude?" she asked. "Yeah, sorry, I thought I saw something outside the window and almost tripped." The boy chuckled, scratching his neck nervously. "Well, come on, we're almost there," the punk girl told him as she kept leading him toward the objective, failing to notice the cat-like smirk that grew on his face, along with the unconscious form that had his hands tied up with capture tape. Elsewhere, oh man, Toga pulled some straight-up Black Widow moves. Kirishima gasped. Yeah, Kaminari didn't stand a chance. Zero nodded. Bakugo, meanwhile, was just staring at it all, unable to take all these blows to his ego. She'd be really terrifying as a villain, I'm not gonna lie. Mina gulped. The power of a fiend turned to work for the light. Truly a wonder to see. Takayama mused. And it sure sucks for actual villains since she's on our side, though, Achako pointed out with a smile. Meanwhile, back in the test building, Gyro and Kaminari finally reached the door to where Momo was but couldn't get the door open. Damn, they barricaded it, the punk rocker cursed. Yeah, I guess I should have told you that earlier. Kaminari sighed as he looked apologetic, all while a purple viscous liquid started falling off of him as he melted, and his voice became more like Himeko's. Sorry about that. The figure apologized as Himeko suddenly burst out of the substance completely naked. What the Gyro started to say before she screamed upon seeing Himeko naked right before she found herself being kicked in the face clear across the room and into the next wall with a crash. Before she could react, Himeko hit her head. The shapeshifter was certainly fleet-footed. Hem. The blonde chuckled as she stood proud, puffing out her chest with her hands on her hips, causing her BB cup rack to jiggle. And that's how you take. Who's gonna tell her that this whole thing was recorded? Achako asked as all of the men in the room looked away from the monitor. "Yar," Izuku replied, glancing at the brunette. Though since he was the last to look away, he got a good look at Himiko's body, as much as he wanted to say otherwise due to she was very attractive, and this wasn't just because she was naked. The blonde was genuinely attractive. Dang, Toga is seriously hardcore. I don't think I could handle doing something like that while naked. Hagakure said. Oh, right. Later, the class was now reviewing the last match, and needless to say, All Might had a few things to make note of with Himiko's performance. Okay, state of dress notwithstanding, her stealth and acting were both impressive, he noted. Both of these talents are must as an infiltrator, and she paid close attention to how she behaved when she disguised herself as young Kaminari, he continued. Himeko, meanwhile, was still smug as hell. She was even holding her chin high while she quite literally sparkled with self-assured pride. Now, that being said, who can tell me the mistake she made? The no one hero asked the class. She risked being spotted before she could make her move due to the sun casting her shadow on the wall. He began. Additionally, Gyro could have used her quirk to listen and learn that only Yaoyorozu was present had Toga waited a second longer. In hindsight, she should have acted sooner, he continued. This made Himiko's veneer of pride shatter like a stained glass window as she deflated upon hearing that. Yeah, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have waited until we reached the barricade. The Bakeniko girl sighed. Time skip. After Hiro's studies were over, class went on to their afternoon classes, and then to homeroom again, where they all were able to formally introduce themselves to each other and get to know each other. As this was going on, Ada was barking at Takayama to get off the desks, while Ajiro and Emeko said that he needed to chill. Izuku was being swarmed by Cyril, Kirishima, Tsu, Mina, and Sato about his powers, as well as taking notes on theirs. Achako was getting to know the other girls, and Kaminari was entering the classroom with gyro books in hand. So yeah, sorry about the match today. The blonde sighed as they put the books away. I honestly didn't expect Toga to get the drop on us like that, so I think both of us are at fault for not being aware of our surroundings, Gyro told him. Well, even so, I feel like I should make it up to you somehow, Kaminari said matter-of-factly, causing Miko to perk up, a certain gleam sparking in her eye. Oh, Achako, what's up? Hagakure questioned. And Miko's gone into matchmaker mode, the brunette sighed. Make it up to her, you say. The cat-eyed girl grinned as she approached. I think I know how to help make things. What are you getting at? Gyro, I'm suggesting that Kaminari here make it up to you by taking you out for dinner, the blonde suggested with a smile. Hey, that's a great idea, Kaminari exclaimed. Why didn't I think of that? I know this really good burger joint we can go to. He laughed. Well, since you're offering, I won't say no, Gyro said after a moment of thought. And with that, my work here is done. Himeko chuckled as she walked. Izuku and Achako couldn't help but wait, he asked. I don't know, but you better, Cyril. I'll go talk to him. I know him well. Izuku told him before he went after his rival. He was able to catch up with him in front of the main gate. Kaken, wait up. He called after him. What? The blonde growled as he turned back to face the Rinnegan user, pure malice in his gaze and voice. Hey, what's with that face? Izuku questioned as he got closer to him. I thought we were friends. What's gotten into you? He asked it, clearly confused and concerned. You fucking beat me in class today. You here to rub it in with those damned eyes of yours? The explosive boy barked. No, the boy retorted, arms folded. Seriously, Kaken, after all these years that we've known each other, you really think I'm that shallow? He questioned. Katsuki had no answer for that. Kaken, you know I'm aware of how much you're hurting. Don't let it get to you, the green-haired boy told him. What the hell told you it was getting to me? Katsuki snapped. Again, we've known each other since we were kids, Kaken. I know when something's eating at you, the Rinnegan user told him. So why don't you tell me? Get it off your... And in exchange, I'll tell you something, he added. As much as Katsuki wanted to turn him down, he needed to vent. He didn't even care about you wanted to know so fucking badly, exclamation. The boy growled. It's everything I saw today. First you show that the Rinnegan is something I can't fucking match. Then you and Pink Cheeks made a fool out of me in front of everyone, and then I see everyone else with quirks that outclass mine. I thought I could be number one with no challenges, and now I have all this shit to worry about. He ranted. Then get stronger, the green-haired teen told him simply. Hug Katsuki uttered, not expecting the simple advice. Kaken, there's no shame in being weak, Izuku told him. The shame is in staying weak. He continued. I mean, look at me. I have by far the most powerful ability here, and I was completely unable to use it because of how weak-minded and scared I was of it. He finished. You can do the same. You just gotta try. Katsuki took in his words and mulled them over. He may not exactly be fond of his old friend, per se, but what he said made sense. If he didn't get stronger, then what kind of hero would he be? He supposed a simple solution was best for something like this. All right, nerd. You want me to get stronger? Fine, I will, he said after a moment of thought. Now, what was that secret of yours, anyway? He questioned. It's two, actually. The reason why I'm so much better with my Rinnegan is partly because All Might had been training me since the sludge villain attack. He explained. Oh, go fuck yourself, was the only available response he could. You wish, Izuku retorted. Second, I have reason to believe that my Rinnegan weren't originally mine. He continued. The hell's that supposed to mean? Katsuki questioned with a confused frown. It means that they were implanted, Izuku explained. Think about it. I have surgical scars around my eyes. My eyes were black instead of green before they manifested, and since then I haven't been able to deactivate my Rinnegan no matter how hard I try. He elaborated. Doesn't that sound the least bit sus to you? He questioned. Now that you mention it, it actually does. The Pomeranian blonde admitted. I always wondered why you always seem to have the Rinnegan active 24/7, and your eye color pre-activation didn't make any sense either. One realized what was up. He mused with a frown. But who implanted them into you? He wondered. That's something I have no answers to, unfortunately. Izuku sighed in reply. Well, borrowed eyes or not, this doesn't change a goddamn thing, the blonde told him, jabbing a finger at the boy's chest. You're still my rival, so don't think I'll let you beat me again. He growled before turning away. Kakin, the Rinnegan user's side, is seeing that they're talking. But even so, that also doesn't change my cat. I'll still always be there to protect you. Count on that. He added as he exited the campus, leaving behind a surprised Izuku. Well, I guess that's one thing I can accept as remaining unchanged. He thought, remembering the promise the boy made when they were kids. Flashback. So your power's some kind of demigod stuff. An 8-year-old Katsuki questioned as he and Izuku read a book on the Jujutsu of the past, including the Rinnegan. Yeah, I guess so. Izuku, sounds like a crazy dream, but whatever. The young bomber scoffed. But crazy powers or not, you still need someone to protect you. He added, Huddy uttered, if what we are reading is right, someone could steal your eyes and use them for evil. The blonde explained, causing Izuku to yelp as he covered his eyes. Sighing, Katsuki then hugged the shivering boy close. And that's why, no matter where we are, no matter how strong we both get, if you're in danger and someone's about to steal your Rinnegan, I'll be there to protect. He added, asterisk sniff asterisk promise. The green-haired tyke sniffed, holding promise. Katsuki nodded, locking his own pinky with Izuku's. Flashback end. Guess some things never changed. Izuku smiled as he went back to get his stuff so he could go home when he heard rustling from behind a bush. Looking at it, he went over and peered inside and came close to face-planting when he saw a sheepish Miko in it. A hee-hee. She giggled awkwardly right before an irritated All Might made himself known by lifting the girl up by her collar. All right, how much of that did you two hear? The boy questioned. All of it. Himiko admitted from her dangling position. I was afraid something would have caused you and young Bakugo to come to blows when the others told me that you went after him, so I rushed over, the symbol of peace. Apparently he mused, yeah, and put me down. The blonde snapped indignantly. Guess the cat's out of the boy. Come on, Himiko. He told, okay, I guess. The jar All Might, meanwhile, couldn't help but look back at Katsuki as he left eyesight range. So young Bakugo, even with all your fierce posturing, you still care about your friend, the man thought with a warm smile. He was glad that his student was a hero at heart, even if it was deep down.
Yeah, this thing was updated last year. I don't know. It must be done at this point. Because I really wish there was more, though. Let me see. Okay, I mean, this one here is pretty much bullshit. Trying to actually copy and paste the shit because it's not really, you just click copy him. Wait. Are you saying this? Yeah, I can't paste it. Oh my god. Mm. It's actually working. What the fuck? This isn't working, God forsaken. The wolf and I'm actually not working. Oh my god, this thing I know this thing is great. I was gonna, do Wolf and Rabbit, but it was like mostly impossible to do. I guess they fly out. Yeah, how much have we got paste? Blood ink, I might probably do again, but not yet. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Let me try to post this page up here. Holy, what the hell? Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Trying to keep, that shit is almost impossible. I'm gonna, there's another one I want to do I could mostly do easier. This one is just harder to do. Sorry.